The motor assembly is quite a bit larger here as well than this. This motor, I think, is just in here. And I just noticed the bar oil here is frozen. The safety thing is hard to actually activate with your thumb. The worst place to touch it is here, actually. So it'll catch something here. So it'll butt up right against that. Okay, so I just did an unboxing short for the Votrek electric chainsaw, this 8-inch model. And go and check that out if you're interested in seeing the unboxing. But I'm going to do a little comparison between the Votrek and the DeWalt XR. For those interested in purchasing an electric chainsaw. And overall, just compare the two, contrast, and we'll see how they cut and how they perform. So out of the box, the Votrek comes with two of these batteries. These are 3 ampere hour, 21 volt lithium ion batteries. And nice little feature is when you depress the button, you get a little power indicator. So this one's pretty much full here, which is nice. Snap in like this, and on the operation, you have a little thumb safety. So you need 2 buttons to depress before it operates. So little thumb safety and then the trigger. So thumb safety, trigger, and it fires right up. That's the nice thing about electric chainsaws. You know, they're not like gas, and they're not, you know, they don't pollute. They're not as loud. You don't have to start them, stop them, and all this. You don't maintain the engine. The engine is just built in, and really just how fast it stops is great. So you can just cut something, stop, cut something, stop. It's got a little bar oil container. During the unboxing, I fumbled around with the cap because it doesn't come with a retention. I think the DeWalt has a retention. Let's check. I don't remember. Yes, it does. So a little retention wire or string or whatever you want to call it. That just helps the cap from disappearing on you. So so that's nice. And I just noticed the bar oil here is frozen. I left these 2 chainsaws out in the cold. Left this one out in the box in the cold, and it fires right up. So no problem with winter operation, I would say. Temperatures here in Massachusetts hit, was it 14 or 16 Fahrenheit? So below 0 in Celsius, whatever that is. So I would say that's a win. That makes this thing pretty robust in terms of the electronics and whatnot, which is good. So size differences. As you can see, I think you can see there's a little bit of a size difference between the DeWalt and the Votrek. This is overall a more heavier saw than the Votrek. The motor assembly is quite a bit larger here as well than this. This motor, I think, is just in here. A little bit on the back here. So quite a bit smaller motor. And the batteries are roughly identical. This is an aftermarket battery, 6 ampere hours on this with 20 volt. This is a 21 volt with 3 ampere hours, so a little different. I wonder what the runtime will be. We'll try to compare those two. And the operation is a little different. Here on the DeWalt, I don't like the operation. The safety thing is hard to actually activate with your thumb. It's doable, but so let me show you. So it has a guard, first of all, for the chain. So a little different than the guard on the Votrek. So you take the guard off, right? And with the safety, it's awkward depressing it with your thumb and then the trigger. What they show in the user manual is actually palming the thing and depressing somehow, or maybe with your palm and then the trigger. This feels a little better, but also not great because you have to really push your palm into it. But it does work. So again, yeah, this is quite a bit heavier than the Votrek, which is not great. If they perform the same, then I actually prefer having a lighter saw. I feel like this spins a lot faster than the than the DeWalt. I'm not sure about the battery on this. I'm gonna have to give them a fair test and charge both batteries up all the way. So the operation here is kind of two-handed. They kind of want you to palm the thing and then depress, which kind of gives you some additional, you know, handhold on this and leverage maybe. You don't have that here. You just kind of, you know, cut whatever you're cutting here. I mean, you can kind of hold this thing somewhere, although this is, I think, supposed to be a hand guard, so you don't bash your hand into something. So I don't think you're supposed to hold it like this, especially if like something kicks back and you have your hand into the blade. So that's not good. I think this is a one-handed thing, purely. And then the guard, right? So it's interesting. This whole edge here is exposed. This guard, you know, helps you not touch it from the top. The blade spins this way, away. So if you did touch it, like, it would kick your hand out. The worst place to touch it is here, actually. So it'll catch something here. A little different on the DeWalt. The DeWalt, you know, same thing here. I think it spins. Yeah, same thing. So it spins this way. The blade is a little wider this way than the Votrek. And the chain, I think the chain is a little thicker too. Yeah, the chain is definitely thicker. I don't know if you can see that, but definitely a thicker chain. But the nice thing about the Votrek, in my opinion, because I do some chainsaw work, and sometimes it requires you to dig in somewhere, right? So this edge is exposed. You can dig in, make a hole, and then cut down. You can't do that with the DeWalt, because the DeWalt has this guard here. So you know, you can spin it and you can touch something, right? And I didn't do anything to the desk because it has this guard. I wouldn't have the same result with the Votrek, but I do like this. I actually had a guard on my gas chainsaw and I just took it off because it was annoying. So this really just allows you to cut from two sides, right? From here, and the tip you don't really get to use. I suppose that's kind of advanced chainsaw operation, but still, it would have been nice to not have this. I wonder if I can replace the bar on this with something else, and, you know, without that guard, maybe. These are riveted on here, so I can't take these off. Also, one other thing, the chain tension adjustment is great. I love the chain tension adjustment on this. It's really simple. I mean, there's like two things you got to do. Just undo the lock, and then this is where you adjust the tension with this dial. So that's easy. I mean, I just did it, right? I did it. The tension is nice. The tension is loose on this chain, pretty loose. I need to fix this. How do I do that? I can't do that with the dial. I have to go in here with a special tool. I think it came with the thing, but I don't have it handy right now. And then, you know, set up the tension, and that's just annoying, right? So that's not fun here. This is great. I like this. And I had a couple other electric chainsaws in the past, corded ones, not cordless, with the same mechanism, with the same two, you know, dial and lock nut mechanism, and they were great. I was adjusting the tension all the time, and you do adjust the tension all the time, and no problem. So this is kind of it's chintzy. So I'll adjust the tension on this before I use both of them. What else? That is pretty much it in a nutshell. I wonder what the capacity of the bar oil is in both of them. It feels like this probably holds a little more than the Votrek, but this also makes wider cuts than the Votrek, which is interesting. They're both a 8-inch blade, but I mean, as you can see, I don't know if you can see that, because the the top part of the chain is covered in the DeWalt, it feels shorter. It feels like a shorter blade. So this is, you're getting the full 8 inches here versus whatever that is. Actually, let me measure. Where's my measure? Okay, well, I don't have my regular measure handy, but I have this thing. This is fine. So when I measure here, yeah, I'm getting close to the 8 inches, 7 3/4. 7 3/4. So if you measure, so here from the shortest point, if you measure out to the widest point, I'm getting the full 8 inches. So down here, and yeah, from really the bottom side here is 8 inches. On the DeWalt, if I go all the way from the bottom, I get 7 inches. Here on the bottom, maybe if I'm generous. Okay, so here on the bottom, the chain actually hides in here. I mean, if you're generous, you can kind of call it 8. Yeah, you can kind of call it 8. The guard has a cutout, a diagonal cutout here. Maybe that's what they did it for. You actually do get the 8 from the diagonal cutout all the way to where the chain hides into the body of the tool. You get 8 inches. One other thing I notice here on the DeWalt versus the Votrek is this metal guard here. That's nice, actually, because I imagine when you're sawing through things, especially since the chain rotates this way, the wood might kind of butt up against the tool, and it'll butt up against this hard piece of metal here. It's a nice thick piece of metal right there. So it'll butt up right against that. On the Votrek, you don't have that, right? You just have plastic. So if you get something stuck there, it'll butt up right against that plastic, which, you know, you might damage the tool, because that's not gonna protect anything. So you got to be a little bit more careful with this tool for sure. We'll see how this cuts. That'll be next. But overall, very light, pretty handy. I like how it fires up really quick. I think it's faster, right? I mentioned that. It's faster than the DeWalt. So I'm thinking it might actually cut faster. The motor's smaller, but faster. This probably has a little bit more torque. The motor has more torque, but is slower. So it probably cuts slower, but probably can cut bigger logs faster, I'm guessing. And the Votrek cuts faster, but probably will have a hard time on thicker logs. But we'll see. Let's do the comparison and we'll see.